Hey, girl. Hey!
There go the levels. There go the levels. Dear listeners, we are sorry about your ears. Mims.
Don't worry, it gets mixed down later. Hey, girl. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. What's new with you? What's new in this world? Not in this
nothing.
world. What's new in this? What's new with you?
Yeah, let's not talk about what's new in the world right now.
I mean, this episode kind of talks about what's new in the world.
Good gosh, right? Good Lord, it's insane. I was like, I wanted to
This is
escape
timely. This is time. We'll get into that in a minute.
It's too timely. I just wanted to escape.
So what's new with you? What's new with you?
Girl, I'm just tired. I had so many gigs this week that I'm very tired.
You got gigs? What kind of gigs you got?
I mean, I had to do that gig, the one that I sent the picture for, where I was doing the Pride gig at the Pride gig at the gym. Right? Like, that was a hoot. That was an absolute hoot. I hope they ask me to do that every year. So, because they didn't tell me what I was going to be doing. They had and so the lady, she sent me a message before, and she was like, "Oh, do you want, what kind of song do you want to do?" I was like, "Oh, okay, so I'll do like a campy kind of exercise song." So I told them I wanted to do Kylie Minogue's "Exercise," and so then later she's like, "Oh, we're gonna be using like a pre-made Pride mix, so just come." And I was like, "I don't know what that means." So I put together a nice little 80s aerobics workout looking outfit that she saw. And when I got there, she was like, "Yeah, everybody's just exercising and blah, 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 blah. So just have fun." I'm like, I still don't know what I'm doing here for an hour. And so I was like, so basically I just started being like a trainer, but like in a very campy, I don't like exercising kind of way, which is where she kept taking all the videos of me. Because I was just like, I didn't know what else to do. But eventually, because I was doing like fake exercising, eventually I started sweating like I was doing real exercising.
Yes.
Yes. And so I was like, "Do you have a towel?" I just didn't think that this was what I was going to be doing, so I didn't come prepared. And but it was super nice. There were so many the people there were very nice. It was a lot of like queer women, which was great because me, I prefer queer women over queer men, except for my best friends and my relationships. And so it was just great. So it was a hoot. But at the same time, I had to go home. Which this was in Miami Beach.
Okay, so that's
so I had to drive back home. I had to rest a little bit because I then had to go back out for another gig Saturday night.
Oh, mercy.
Where I had to be there. I thought I had to be there at like 8:30, 8 o'clock because my drag mom told me to be there. Well, not my drag mom, but Shelly. She told me to be there, and so I get there, and the person who runs the event was like, "Oh, don't worry about helping Shelly. You just have fun." I'm like, so that means I'm not actually needed until 1 o'clock in the morning because that's why that was my other thing I had to be there for. So basically, I just drank and hung out for hours just watching all these different shows. It was great. But my feet hurt so much on Sunday. Like, I felt like those people that walk across the lava rocks. I was like, this is not fun. My feet hurt. And my husband, he felt my shin last night. And he was like, "Why does your leg feel like that?" I was like, "Are you being serious right now?"
Don't speak until you've walked a mile in a queen's shoes, girl.
He's like, "Honey, heels aren't good for you." I was like, "Yeah, I know. Thanks. Thank you for that." So I'm still tired. It's Tuesday.
Honey, heels aren't good for you. No shit, but my legs look fantastic.
They do. I've gotten many compliments. Many.
It was out, ! Raleigh this week.
Oh, that's right.
Right. It's very corporate.
It looked very corporate, to be very honest with you.
There's no parade. Yeah, it's just a little walking festival.
So it was basically, see, that to me is like,
Uh-huh.
what's the best way to say this? This is my big thing about corporate pride is that I've noticed that the lack of a parade, right, seems to be the hallmark of corporate prides, right? Like it's usually these festival type things.
So this pride started as not a pride. This pride started as a street festival sort of dealio, not as corporate, right?
Okay.
But then it's sort of, there was some beef between Raleigh and the Durham NC Pride. And NC Pride was like, well, if you're going to start doing that out Raleigh thing, we're just going to call ourselves Durham Pride and scale it back. And, you know, NC Pride is in September when it's real horrible outside. Like, that Durham Pride, real horrible outside. So they changed it to Out Raleigh Pride.
Wow.
So it is this is actually I believe their first year being a pride, because last year was the pandemic. The year before that was the pandemic. The year before that was a huge thunderstorm came through.
That's enough to get rid of it. That North Carolina thunderstorms, that's enough.
Like, and it started at 11 and didn't stop till 6.
Yeah, that's enough. It's not like a thunderstorm here. That's enough.
No. It was one of them staying storms.
Yeah, no, we don't have those here. We don't. Not in the summer. They come and they go.
So have you watched? I know you haven't. Because
why are you asking the question?
Well, because it leads into my next topic. Have you watched that Heartstopper yet? Have you watched that yet? Okay, no. I know. Anyway, there is a book. She wrote a book. She wrote all of those too. It's comics, but she also wrote a book called Loveless. I am suggesting it to everyone. It is sort of a fictional autobiography about her figuring out she was aromantic, asexual in college, and it is very interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed it.
Well, is it the same kind of format where it's just like a digital online thing?
No. This is actual book. Like, it is a and
like
I believe it's a novel. I believe that she reads the
audiobook?
Audiobook, yeah. Alice Osman. Loveless.
Okay.
Yeah. So look at me having read a young adult novel. What?
Well, I can tell, man, it is a young adult novel, so that checks. What
was that? I am a young adult. I am. I'm still a cub. Girl, if I'm a young adult, you are too, so you better quit laughing.
I never called myself a young adult. The best I give myself is old bitch. Like, that's the best I give myself now. I don't call myself a young adult. I did a stand-up comedy show with a person recently that was half of my age. I don't call myself a young adult.
Speaking of not calling yourself a young adult, did you know that we have a Patreon?
Girl.
Dear listeners, if you go to patreon.com, Mims and Maim, we would love to have some money.
We would. Please pay for our pension fund.
And speaking of pension funds, May, we also have another podcast.
Oh, wow. That was a perfect segue, wasn't it?
It was. It's called You Slay Me. And it is a Murder, She Wrote podcast. Yeah, I know. Lord have mercy. It has been a day, a week, a month, a year. Yes, ma'am.
I started watching another mystery/detective show that.
But you can't watch Encanto.
I actually thought about that the other day because I've almost binged the first 2 seasons of this show. It's not an old.
You just can't watch Encanto, can you?
Hey, you should be proud of me. This is a more recent show. This wasn't from the 70s. So
how much more recent? 95?
No, like in the 2010s.
Oh wow, Encanto was last year.
Yeah. So I think most people are familiar with it.
Did you watch Everything Everywhere All at Once yet?
No, it's not streaming yet.
I thought you were going to go out to the theater and see it.
I was totally going to do that. Speaking of that, let me say this. This is what happened Sunday. Actually, now that you said that. So Sunday, I was super excited. My friend, our friend of the podcast, Billy, got tickets to go see the 25th anniversary re-release of Fifth Element, and I was very excited. I woke up. I was a bit tired because of everything the day before, but I was up. I was there. 3:00. I got to the theater. I texted her because she was already there. I was like, "Hey, you gonna come out with my ticket?" And she's like, "Oh yeah." And then she's like, "Oh," and the girl at the counter said, "Oh, she's gonna send you the picture of the ticket. That's fine. I don't need to see it because it's got the barcode on it."
Yeah.
And so she sends me the picture of the ticket, and then I show it to the girl, and she was like, "Oh," and I was like, "What did you say? Why did you say that?" She's like, "I'm so sorry." She's like, "This isn't playing in our theater." I got the theater wrong. And I didn't just get like the theater, like I got the theater wrong, and the other theater was like a good 25-minute drive from where I was.
And this has been your episode of Baking Sugar.
Oh, I can't keep this up much longer.
Well, are you ready to end this episode now that you've
Yes, let's cross the picket lines and do our podcast.
This is season 3, episode 7. But they're really great curtains.
I'm Julia Sugarbaker. I'm Julia Sugarbaker. I'm Julia Sugarbaker. I'm Julia Sugarbaker. And that's Marjorie, just so you will know, and your children will someday know, is the night the lights went out in Georgia. The lights went out, the lights went out, the lights went out, the lights went out. And that is the night the lights went out in Georgia.
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Well, now you do.
Did you like my little inflection there?
I loved it, actually.
Okay, I mean, I could try to get, but they're really great curtains. But they're really great curtains. But they're really great curtains.
I love the curtains, actually. So I'll just say that right now. I like those a lot. They reminded me of that giant yellow dress that Rihanna wore for the Met Gala.
But did the curtains match the drapes? I always fuck that saying up, and I love saying it wrong.
I mean, the only curtains drapes that they would match would be Charlene's, I'm guessing, since she's the blonde. And
well, we're at Sugarbaker's.
Oh, sorry.
And they're getting ready to decorate a hotel.
Not a hotel. Well, according to Suzanne Sugarbaker, it's more like a motel.
Uh-huh. Well, they're like, we really need the money. Heavens to Betsy.
We are back there again.
Sugarbaker's is falling apart yet again. They need the money. And Charlene is even rationing office supplies.
I thought that was so funny. She said straightening out the staples.
Uh-huh. Straightening out the staples, reusing the rubber bands. God. How much office supplies could they actually need?
I don't know. I mean, like, think about that. Like, 1987, they could have just gone down to the Roses. It can't be that expensive.
Girl, Roses. Did you know Roses is the North Carolina store?
Yeah.
Okay, like they probably didn't have them down there.
Oh, well, then at 87, that would be Woolworth.
Woolworth, there you go.
Or the Kmart. I'm sure
Or they definitely had Kmart in Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. They're very metropolitan down there in Atlanta.
Metropolitan.
I only see commercials for Kmart. They don't even have them in our town.
We had the Kmart.
We did have the Kmart out there by Sky City. Out there by Sky City on the way to the Dairy Queen.
Over there with the Ingalls.
That's right. I used to go out there. That's where my uncle lived. Used to go a bit further. That's where my Aunt Desi lived. I remember that girl.
Go a little bit further and you're in Hiddenite.
That's right, Eddie. Get some rocks.
Dear listeners, for those of you that do not know, there's two things about Hiddenite. Number one, Hiddenite is only found in North Carolina, and it is an emerald, basically. It's a specific kind of emerald. Well, it's a different stone, but it looks like an emerald. Number two, in that area, there's a cult that has a really good bakery. Call me a liar. Am I lying?
I'm not calling you a liar. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm not saying that at all. I am so while my mother was here visiting, you know, I told you before that my husband collects crystals and whatnot.
Yes.
So my mother made the mistake of telling him about Hiddenite, and so now he wants to make sure that the next time we come home, we're gonna go up to Hiddenite, and I wanted to cry.
And do what? What are you gonna do? Although you can go to the Hiddenite Museum and see the world's largest piece of Hiddenite.
I mean, I know, but you know,
is he wanting to go like sleuths for some shit? Is that what he wants?
So
Girl.
I think as she was talking to him about it, I was like, no,
girl. Well, don't break his little heart and tell him that they salt that shit. Just let him go and find some shit.
Just let him find it organically.
Just let him just.
I'm gonna pat him on the back. I'm gonna be like, here you go, honey. Good job.
You know they actually have over there where you can go with the river now and do it. You can actually put waders on and go in the river.
Wade in the water. Wade in the water. Children, wade.
Well, Julia blames the Southwest fan for all this because who really wants a skull in their living room, right?
So when they were talking about this, because I was trying to think about that time period, and they were saying that the summer is slow, and I thought, wouldn't that probably be the busiest time for redecoration? Would be summertime.
So hot. You don't redecorate then. It's so hot.
Yeah, but like, fall, the kids are going back to school. Winter is holiday season. Then it's like spring. I guess spring is the busy time for decorations.
I don't really think they know. I just remember when they said the Southwest fan, I'm like, do you remember all those horrible stucco houses that went up during that time?
Yeah.
And they all, dear listeners, stucco doesn't work in North Carolina because it holds water and it molds. Yep. It's disgusting looking after about a year and a half.
It's really quite awful. All that black starts growing up the walls.
Girl, that's also what the white people said in the community.
It's very true.
Girl, I remember when our first black family moved into my little community.
I know that went over well.
Well, it was fine because we did not have an HOA, but everybody talked about them.
Of course they did.
I think he was a cop, so they left him alone after a little bit.
Oh,
yeah.
That's who my husband sold his last house to, was a police officer, or no, a federal agent. Actually.
So, not a federale.
Yeah, federale, honey.
So, well, they enjoy this podcast right now as we're recording it.
Yes, exactly. They're listening to our every word. CIA, we love you. You guys do amazing work. Thank you for not leaking my nudes. Thank you.
Girl, have you ever even taken a nude?
I'm sure I have at some point.
And sent it to somebody?
Maybe, like in that 10 months I was single. I'm sure I did.
Okay.
I'm sure at some point, because I'm not that repressed, but
Girl, I opened up my old computer and started looking through some files, and there I was.
Why'd you have to say it like that?
Because it was intermingled with a bunch of like other people, and and then all of a sudden it was just me. I'm like, there I was. Damn it.
I mean, we all have skeletons in our closet, honey. We all do.
We do. So, Suzanne, the Charlene was saying, "The Lord provideth."
Yes.
At times like this, and Suzanne said, "Well, you would think the Lord would have a little more taste."
No.
Well, Maryjo's here in a flurry. She's probably late.
She's super upset. Super upset.
She's got a problem with her car.
It's always something with her.
She just knows she's going to get ripped off. Quite frankly, we all know it too, because have you met her?
Yeah.
So Suzanne tells a story about some plastic surgery, about being nipped and tucked and this and this and this, and the woman kept on having to get things changed. Too small, they got too big and all that. And then by the end of it, she had enough plastic in her for a Tupperware party.
It's like the whole cast of Drag Race after they've been on their season.
Well, except for Jinx.
Yes. Yes. Our Queen Jinx.
In my at Gay Poker, somebody had an uncomfortable, controversial yet brave opinion that I did not agree with.
Mm-hmm.
That Jinx is real boring with her looks. With her looks.
Oh.
And her makeup. I'm like, I think her makeup's really good.
I mean, I would be very honest, especially during the Dolly episode, because those of us that remember that era of Dolly's life, I looked at my husband, I was like, she nailed it so hard, it is almost eerie to look at her.
Yep.
Like, some of those, like, especially the moment when she walked back into the workroom on this, like, on the newest episode, I literally was like, this is almost weird to watch her because she looks so much like Dolly did in the early 80s.
I have a controversial yet brave opinion.
Yes.
Raja's boy looks are better than her girl looks.
I'm not gonna disagree with that statement.
Like every single one of them have been so on point. Like
yeah. I would have to agree with that. I am. So I've heard a rumor that either this is going to be near the end of Drag Race or that RuPaul's reign might be over, and I started to wonder if this season is also doubling as who replaces RuPaul.
Well, then who would she pick?
Well, whoever wins.
It's not going to be Jinx then.
But I'm just saying, like, it's the way RuPaul is calling it the Queen of Queens. And hearing that other rumor, I was like, wait, this does seem like it's aligning in a very interesting kind of way.
Well, then it has to be Trinity, right?
I think it'll be Trinity, personally. Yeah. I mean, I think so, but at the same time, I was just like, I mean, I don't know if obviously, it's rumor and hearsay, so I don't know if it's true or not. I mean, I can't imagine VH1 would be like, you're gonna stop. No,
right? Like, girl, you were under contract. I know you got all that fracking money, but you were under contract.
VH1 like, we need more Emmys. We never get enough. You're the only thing giving us Emmys right now.
Daisy Fuentes never got one, so we need more. Did she even get a cable ace? I hope she got a cable ace. Best middle of the night VJ. Girl, I used to wake up to Daisy Fuentes whenever I fell asleep on the couch.
I'm so old that I remember when Daisy Fuentes was still the Latin VJ, and she hosted that one specific segment they used to have where they showed you the viewers' choices from the other countries, and then the next year she was on the American MTV.
Viva Latino. I remember that.
Oh my gosh. Oh, so old.
Julia and Maryjo have a little discussion because the drapes are there. The textile for the drapes are there.
Maryjo, have you seen these drapes?
Are they okay?
Oh my God, they're fabulous. They're
my God.
fabulous.
They got them from Textile City.
Oh, Textile City. I've heard of that place. I heard it's quite reasonable.
And then Maryjo's touching them and she goes, hello, gorgeous. And Anthony walks in and it's like, thank you for noticing my new bronzer.
Speaking of bronzers for dark skinned people, L'Oreal just came out with a new bronzer palette for all different shade ranges, including African American folks.
Ooh, nice.
I know. It's really good for contouring.
And Suzanne makes a comment. Has anyone ever been affected by the presence or absence of curtains? To which Charlene says, Jimmy Swaggart.
Yep. Gosh, we're not that far off generationally where that joke is not going to make sense to anybody.
I know.
That's so wild. But man, us Southern queer kids are going to keep that alive.
Jimmy Swaggart.
I have sinned. I beg the church for forgiveness. I have sinned. I have fallen prey to the lust of the flesh. I'll never forget that. It was on WSOC. I'll never forget that.
Oh God, the same channel that hid hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Yep, wearing that powder blue suit.
God. My family never. Well, even my grandfather, who was raised and all that, didn't have any time for them or Billy Graham.
I'll never forget it.
Anyway, Maryjo is now on the phone talking about her car
again.
And Anthony gets on the phone for her and talks to the mechanic, and he says, I'm just a silly little old woman thing. I don't know much about cars, but have you checked this, and this?
I thought that was the second time around.
No, that's the first.
We're in the, no, that was the second time when she comes back.
No. No,
I thought it was.
She's only on the phone twice. This and later on when, would you please be quiet? There's only 2 times she's on the phone.
Oh, but
she comes in, complains. She's on the phone, and then she's on the phone again. Yeah. I'm good with my notes because I just rewatched it just about 2 hours ago.
Honey, I rewatched it today too, but my brain don't work like yours do.
Nah, it's all that blonde grease in your hair.
I ain't got no grease in my hair. What you talking about? What are you talking? Although I will have to
DEP.
Let me just say this about my hair, dear listeners. I'm a mixed race person with a darker complexion, and what the general population doesn't understand is. Yeah, you're definitely out. What the general population doesn't seem to understand is that mixed race people have different textured hair. And just because you bleach your hair and you go blonde, it doesn't also mean that you've done something to the texture of your hair, which I've gotten that 1,000 times since I colored my hair, that people say, yeah, but what else did you do? I'm like, that's all I did. This is what my hair normally looks like. You just can't tell because it's usually black.
What? It looks the exact same. What are they talking about?
They think that my hair is like somehow, your texture's changed. I'm like, no, it's the same. I'm the same texture hair, right?
They think you straightener.
They think I use straightener. I'm like, this is what my hair looks like.
Billy D. Williams.
Right? This is what my hair looks like. I'm sorry, everyone, that you don't understand how that works. But this
just for me.
J-U-S-T-F-O-R-E. I remember I used to use Luster's pink oil moisturizer before we understood that my hair quality was much more along the lines of the non-African American variety. We used to get all of those products, and it used to just drip out of my hair because it was not the right product.
Time to use Garnier Fructis.
Exactly.
Like the basic white bitch you are.
Moose changed my life. I was like, oh my gosh, this is how my hair should be.
Mine too. I loved You Can't Say That on Television.
Yeah.
So, Maryjo thanks Anthony, but she just knows they're going to take money from her.
Yes, because that's what mechanics do to ladies.
Anthony has something to tell everyone.
Uh-oh, what?
Textile City's on strike.
No.
And they're outside Sugarbaker's.
Because that makes sense.
Yeah, it doesn't it though. How would they even find out? But
I always
whatever.
thought when people go on strike, they go on strike in
At the
front of the
plant?
place that they work at.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. Well, later on, that dude looks like somebody who's got a Rottweiler to come attack him, doesn't he?
girl, that man, oof, creepy.
Well, so later on, and Julia's upset. She's got her head down on the desk. She's really just annoyed with everything. Maryjo enters from the rear. She was attacked by somebody, outside. Suzanne says, Julia was up all night trying to find somebody to deal with these drapes, and she woke up on the wrong side of the desk. This is really good episode for Suzanne and her zingers.
Yes.
And Charlene's out there giving the picketers some coffee.
Because, it makes her think about her family and all the things that they did.
But we're getting to that.
Yes.
Julia is upset. She's not happy that people are standing her azaleas and screeching. Those azaleas ain't blooming in the middle of summer. I'm just going to let you know that right now.
No, those things are dry as the bone.
They have already kind of died back a little, looking real sad anyway.
They are in the valley of the shadow of death. If it is summer in Atlanta.
The valley of the shadow of death, girl.
Those azaleas have gave up the ghost and they have gone on to be with their maker. Dearly beloved,
They've given up the ghost.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to pay honor
Would you quit
to
stroking your microphone?
the Sugarbaker azaleas.
Did you get your nails done? Because they look good.
Girl, my nails always look good. That's just how my nails look. I have good nails.
Oh, I do too, but I didn't know you did.
Yeah, no, apparently I got that from my father because my mother always says she has terrible nails, so apparently I got it from him.
So Suzanne has been through this before at pageants.
That's right.
She just says you put your head up and you walk around through. Last time she was at a pageant, somebody had a sign up that said they're meat markets. Well, she said to that woman that she is grade A prime rib right here. And they were like, well, was she upset? And she's like, yes, because she herself was mostly gristle.
Does that just mean she's thin?
I don't know.
I wasn't sure because gristle is fatty, but at the same time, gristle is not substantial. So it was like
I pictured her kind of ragged and haggard. And have you watched the Paranormal Park show on Netflix?
What? No.
Girl, you need to watch it. It's a cartoon.
Okay.
One of the voices is Coco Peru.
Okay.
So there you go.
I'm sold.
It's about a trans boy who I guess high schooler who gets a summer job at a park that's full of demons.
Oh. Okay.
It's funny. It is so funny and so cute and so heartwarming.
No, I mean it sounds actually quite nice. So I will give that a go.
And so Maryjo and Julia are just talking about being pro-labor, and Julia's like, I was pro-labor all my life, except when a cabbage hit my windshield this morning. And so we find out Charlene's family was in an ink workers union. Her brother would come home all blue, looking like a Smurf, and they tried to unionize, got death threats for 10 cents an hour. They were just trying to get 10 cents more an hour.
Mm-hmm. I mean, welcome to the American labor problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I work in the state with the least number of union employees, or North Carolina's got the least number of unions, least number of union employees. We hate unions here for some reason.
Didn't we? There used to be a lot of unions in North Carolina.
No, there never have been.
There wasn't. Really, my dad was in a union. He was in the paper workers union.
Girl, there's so few. Wow. He was one of the lucky few here. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Right to work state, let me tell you.
Girl, that term.
Jeez. I know. You have the right to work and the right to be fired. Isn't that nice?
I just love that term, the way that it's used. It's like,
Yep.
gross.
Yep. Well, Anthony's here, and
Anthony!
Charlene suggests, let's go Textile City. And Maryjo's like, well, yeah, let's go. But I can't drive. Suzanne will drive. And the directions are you take 75 north and you turn off at the Big Chicken.
Yes.
So they all leave, except Maryjo's got a phone call. And the picketers are being very loud outside. Down with Sugarbakers. Down with Sugarbakers. And Maryjo just screams, could you hold it down for just 1 second? And they quiet.
Yeah, quiet.
They're very nice.
Everybody recognizes a mother screaming like that.
Yes, they do. And we find out that the car is going to cost a lot more than what you originally thought it was going to.
Yes. What was it, like $550? They said
something like that. Yeah. That's a lot of money back then.
That is a lot of money in there in the mid '80s.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
She should make Ted pay for it.
I know, right? Well, now we're at Textile City.
Ugh.
At Charlene, it's very creepy in there. It's very creepy.
It's
but
like
they see the curtains.
Yeah, I was like realizing it looked almost like a horror version of Norma Ray.
I thought it looked like the old Taxi set.
Oh wow! Actually, you know what? It didn't have that color scheme, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It did.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
They probably just used Taxi. Oh, goodness. That's very breathy. I don't know if you know that or not. That is so breathy. All I heard was with little.
I guess it doesn't.
Behind it.
I guess it doesn't pick up whistling that well.
Well, probably if you're farther back. Not when you're right here at it. Go. Yeah.
Listen to me whistle. That was Andy Griffith. So.
Just like him, it's dead. Anyway, so they're like, Maryjo's like, well, let's finish it. Charlene and I can sew, and they use unskilled labor here. So Suzanne, you could obviously be unskilled. And she's like, you might think that I resent that, but I don't.
So I'd like to pause here for just a quick minute to just state something that I find very strange. That somehow through all of the connections that they have in their line of company, that there is no one that they could take the unfinished curtains to finish them. Like,
They don't own it.
but I'm saying they could have just purchased the curtains there and just taken them.
They could have, yes.
Like, what? The curtains were almost done. They just so the listeners know, all they did was hem them, which me being a sewer, I'm like, you could have just put your finger on an alterations book of the phone book and probably got any other person to hem those curtains.
Or just use hemming tape.
You know, like,
I mean, it's for a motel, right?
like if they had to construct them, that would be different. But the fact that Maryjo specifically says that they're almost done, they just need to be hemmed, I immediately sat back and crossed my arms like, Lord, this is like watching Jinx Monsoon trying to sew.
Well, you know, my grandmother used to work at the Singer place in Statesville back in the day. She did. That was her first job in America. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Tell her that I love her work. Thank you. Tell her thank you for paving a way for the sewing machine that I have today.
Well, later on, Suzanne sews her hair into the to the curtain, and I thought how much funny it would have been if it'd been one of her wigs just popped off.
Oh, that would have actually been the most perfect thing to happen.
Yeah,
but you know that she was not going to let that happen.
No.
Not at all. Not at all.
No, never. So Suzanne gets up and's like, I need some pork rinds or something nutritious. Girl, I have been there. Have you ever been there?
I've been there many times. Who would have known that Suzanne Sugarbaker would have like predicted the paleo burst of foods later in time, right? That was the default chip replacement.
So a woman enters and she's like, "Are you using the sewing machine?" She looks at Charlene's and's like, you could actually, these are really good. You get 50 cents a curtain for these.
Yep.
And Suzanne said, I once had a man offer me $400 just to, come on, Suzanne, let's go. ...
That's
exactly what I got written down right here, too. ...
Oh,
Oh, Suzanne. You're such a card. So Julia walks in, and she's talking to the woman, and she's like, is this your own personal sewing? She's like, yes, this is my own personal sewing. I don't have a sewing machine at home. This is my personal sewing. I sew curtains all the time for my own personal sewing. And then Mr. Emery walks in, the plant manager, and he asks the woman to leave. And Julia's like, Mr. Emery, I'm concerned about this place. I'm really concerned about the piecework you're doing, because you aren't giving them an hourly wage. You're paying them by the piece, which is illegal for that kind of work. For factory style work, it is illegal.
Yeah.
And he said, this is not fair. She asked for her deposit back. He's like, it's not fair. I'm trying to help you, and blah, 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 blah. And she said, that doesn't wash, because it's unfair to a small group if easier for the large group, because we're all small groups and we are all labor. You like me. You really
like me. Give her that Emmy. Give it to her.
Oh God!
You know that lady, the Belinda Bloodworth. That as she was writing this episode, that her brain was like, "Oh, I think this is it."
She never got one.
Nope.
For hair, she did. So it's later at Sugarbaker's. It took her 4 hours to get home because Anthony missed the big chicken. Suzanne has a crick in her neck, so she can only, look at Charlene's ear. And Maryjo comes back in. She's reached her breaking point. $500 whatever it is, very specific number. And they all decide to go picket at the car auto and say, "Free the Shively Volvo! Are you going to join in or not? The Shively Volvo! Free the Shively Volvo! You aren't good at that.
I'm not built for that.
Do 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 do. Do 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 do.
Beautiful.
Well, Maim, did you find yourself in Miss Georgia World?
I liked Suzanne's blue number at the beginning.
Wait, the one at the beginning or the one at the end?
The one at the beginning. I like the one at the beginning where she's kind of cinched in a little bit, and she has I love dresses like that where there's like this unusual detail where it's like a little bit of gathering around the bust lines and then a little bit of gathering around the skirt.
You weren't talking about the one does it have a tie with it?
No.
The white shirt and the tie and the blue dress?
No, this was just the beginning was the blue dress.
Okay. I like the one with the tie and the white shirt and the blue dress. It's cinched because she's cinched everything right now, right?
Everything cinched.
But because she's getting chubby.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Maim, I've got another question for you.
Yes.
Are you interested in Amway? No.
I've already given you enough. Don't start again. I have all these boxes in my garage. What are you doing to me?
Have you ever watched the movie Go?
Yes.
Okay. Just throw it out there. Dear listeners, if you haven't watched Go, it is a very 90s movie, and it is so good. Anyway, what was the question? Oh, did you enjoy this episode?
It was all right.
That's it?
It's all right. I mean, it wasn't like, I guess this would fall into the message category of the sitcom.
Yeah.
And as a child and as an adult, never really big on message episodes of sitcoms because they always feel very shoehorned and things don't always make sense. For example, the fact that somehow they're broke again, which sets them up for working with this very discounted person. And then at the very end, it seems like Julia should have called the authorities on the person, but it wasn't really clear if she was going to do that because, that's technically what you should be calling like the people that are in charge of that stuff. So all those things, I was like, it's okay. It was just okay.
So I liked it. The reason I liked it was it's better than some of the other trash we've watched in this show so far.
Oh, no, totally. Like I said, it's okay. I didn't say it was great or I didn't say I hate it. It's just okay.
I shouldn't call it trash. There has been 1 or 2 trash episodes.
There have been some trash episodes. Like trash.
Well, speaking of trash, man, why don't you tell the dear listeners where they can find you?
Ooh, okay.
Bird.
I don't like you right now. Hello, dear listeners. This is your favorite relation, Auntie Maim.
She started saying that again.
Yeah, I did. It's just part of my thing, right? So let's see. You can find me on the social medias at auntie_maim. That's MAIM. You can find me on the Twitter at Maim Ministry. If you would like to come hang out and see some of my live stuff, I do improvised comedy in Midtown Miami at a little club called Villain Theater. It's a little improv comedy space. I do a cabaret karaoke show every Thursday night in Miami Beach at a little bar called Kill Your Idol. And I host a stand-up comedy show at a little bar called Lit in Fort Lauderdale's neighborhood of Wilton Manors, and various other places that you can, if you follow me on the socials, you'll see. How about you, my dear, sweet, spoiled fruit of a friend, Mims?
Hi, y'all. I'm the Divine Miss Mims. You can find me on Twitter at Divine Miss Mims. I have some things coming up. They aren't quite done yet. I promise you they'll be done soon. I promise you. You can find this podcast on Twitter at Baking Sugar Pod. Hey, Maim, we have a Patreon.
What?
Yeah, you can find it at patreon.com. Mims and Maim. Hey, Maim, we have another podcast.
What?
You can find it where you find your podcasties at You Slay Me.
You slay me, prod.
So, Maim.
Yes.
Do you have anything else to add?
I am quite hungry right now.
Well, then why don't you just say goodnight, Maim?
Good night, Maim.
Bye, y'all.